Hi, and welcome to That's So Nova. My name is Nova. Nice to meet you. If this is your first time here, I hope you appreciate the content that I'm going to be providing today. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back, and it's good to see you. We're going to be doing a new pattern to this channel. It's from Needles and Anchors. It's Goddess of the Sea with chevron added. It's a shoulder strap. There's a lot of cool new techniques in here that I myself have never used, and I was really excited to make the bag, and I can't wait to share it with you. I will have a link down below where you can purchase this pattern. It is released, I believe, on the 20th. It's going to re-release, and the link down below is an affiliate link. So when you purchase the pattern, it gives me a little bit of kickback, and I would greatly appreciate it. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the Goddess of the Sea. The chevron is super pretty. I love the way it works. There's a lot of cool new tricks she has. We're going to do some hidden strap connectors, the supplement. And what I like about her connectors is that you can use cotton woven. A lot of people want to do the hidden strap connectors, but they don't want to use, vinyl core, craft tex, what have you. And they want to use cotton base. So I love this look. Now, her hidden connector straps is a separate free pattern, free tutorial on her website. I will link the website down below, and where you can sign up and you can get the hidden connector supplement. I really appreciate this because there's a couple of cotton bags that I want to make, and it's very clean and it's a very neat look. So the first part we're going to do is we're going to get make the Chevron Exterior. I'm going to be using a vinyl that's it's not that thick. It's very thin and it's very pliable, but there's no interfacing needing unless you're using woven. And what I highly recommend with this pattern is to look at on page 7 how the chevrons are connected, how you line it up. It's kind of like quilting, but the pieces are very different and unique, and she does give you some suggestions like put a 2 or put the number of the pattern piece on the top of the pattern, so that way you can remember how it goes. I do keep the pattern pieces together. It just makes it easier. So we're going to put A1 on A2. And again, it's really important to see how the pattern pieces are connected. So with all my fuzz, I'm going to be clipping this on. Now I'm using a faux fur, and it has a very low pile, but it has no stretch, but it's super slippery. So what I'm sewing is I'm sewing from the more stable fabric on this side to keep it aligned as best as I possibly can. We're going to use a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance throughout the pattern, unless directed otherwise. But it's pretty much 3/8 of an inch throughout the whole pattern. So you back stitch really well, and you're going to cut your threads. And we're going to butterfly this open. Now she does have a suggestion. If you're working with more finagly like fabric, you can use 1/8 of a seam allowance DST. I'm kind of just doing the pancake method where I flatten down the pattern, the two pieces, and I press it down onto the table and keep my fingers on it. But 1/8 of a DST will work good. If you have the wash away tape, if your machine is being a little temperamental. And you're going to do 1/8 of an inch down both sides, both parts of the seam, so that the seam stays flat. Trim those threads if your thing wants to cut. And then we're going to go on to part A3. I'm going to attach A3 and A4 together and then attach these two pieces. Sorry, my puppy hair is all over there, all over it. It is soon to be fall. He is shedding incredibly a lot, and it's like, it's really weird because he is what you call a Danev. He's half Great Dane and half King Corso. And if you were to come over here, it looks like he has no hair. Like, but I kid you not, he sheds more than I have ever seen a dog shed. And I'm excited to see what his little winter, like, fall coat's going to be. The other reason why I keep the pattern pieces there is because in case I get, like, my mind's like, wait, hold on, what am I doing? I can just direct the pattern pieces and it'll just work out. I'm on my Juki 5550N for anyone that's new here. And I do not have the needle. I have a needle synchronizer, but I don't use it. I use just the hand wheel. I have a narrow hem foot on my machine. It's a Juki part you can get from any Juki dealer. You can get from any Juki dealer, and this is my favorite foot on this machine. If you're working the 5550N is sister to the 8700. They're just, one's made in China, one's made in Japan. It is very similar to if you have a Juki QV 2200 or the semi-industrial, they're exactly the same. When you get these machines, the 8700 or the 5550, it comes with a light feed dog and light feed dog plate, and it's very similar to a domestic. This machine is used mostly for garment sewing. Let's see, it's mostly used for garment sewing, and sorry, I'm trying to flatten this out and talk at the same time, and that's always an issue. So they use them mostly for garment sewing. Where I purchased this machine, Sewing Gold, from, his name is Steve. We tested out this cool theory where we were like, what if we changed the feed dogs to heavy? And I did, and it is I use this machine for everything. It's great with all types of material. I have not sewn thick leather, but I have sewn light leather on here that was very small ounce. I've sewn suede. You can try different things. I even seen somebody have this machine and they had Teflon on the bottom, so it was easier to sew vinyl. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So we're going to put the last pattern piece on. Oh, it would help if I always trim. I mean, not trim. I always trace out my pattern pieces and cut them out. But I did not actually cut that part out. So we're going to put some clips. Use as few or as many clips as you want. You know, cast your own judgment. Again, this is really slippery. So that's why I have to put clips. Because normally I would just not even put clips, to be honest with you. Okay, we're going to butterfly, go down 1/8 of an inch on both sides. And as you tell that when I'm kind of going over I'm doing over one or two stitches, and then I'm going across the other way. Now this is twofold. One, it looks really cool. Two, man, I am not trimming my threads good. Two, it flattens the seam, so when we are attaching the gusset, it's not like a whole lot of bulk. It's evenly distributed. So once you're done with one side, you will continue to the next side, and you will have two of these. So now we're going to put these two together. And what I do is I like to take seam to seam. And if I have any extra overage, I just kind of trim it a little bit so that way when I'm clipping these, they'll be fine. Seam to seam. Seam to seam. And I'm just double checking. So what I usually do is I flip it open just to see if it's going to, they're matching, and see how that's a little bit off. I'm going to just adjust it a tad. Take your time. There's no race. There's just what is easier for you to do. All right. So I'm now going to sew this up at 3/8 of an inch. And I'm back stitching at the beginning and end. My stitch length is at a 3 right now. And when I'm going to change it to a 3.5 when I'm top stitching these down, this part down. Trim threads. And then we're just going to, if you're using cotton, you could just press this open. If you're not using it, you can use your fingers or a seam roller, whatever you have available. And then just make sure the seams are flat. And see if, right now you can turn, if it doesn't look good to you, if you don't like the way if it's not a perfect V for you, then you can unpick right now and before you top stitch. So we're going to making sure that everything's flat. Again, you can use 1/8 of an inch DST. If your machine's not good with it, there is Dritz wash away that you can get like that. Or I know Cereal Bag Maker has a wash away tape that's 1/8 of an inch. I'm not too sure if Dritz comes in 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Holding the seams down. You can use glue too. But again, and if you're using all cotton, you can just iron it down. All right, so we have one panel and I already did the second. So we have our 2 panels done. And now we're going to put these aside and we're going to grab our exterior gusset piece. Now this gusset, again, always have your pattern pieces. On this, you're going to get a pattern piece that is going to be for our let me see if I can put this on something. Okay, it's going to be for our how we're going to make the hidden strap connectors. What you're going to use is cotton. There's no interfacing on this. And then on the pattern piece, it has a cutout, which you're going to place it on and trace. Once you trace it, you're going to stitch around. You're going to stitch around this piece, the square. And what I usually do is I use a smaller stitch length. So I'm using a 2.0 stitch length, and I know that's really, really small on vinyl, but there's a purpose. The shorter the stitch, I find the cleaner the box. Once you do that, you're going to do very similar to the pockets. We're going to cut V's in a line going down, and we're going to be doing that right now. and then we're going to pull it through. And you could hit it with your iron, but I'm using double-sided tape right here where it's not going to be sewn around, just on the sides. And I'll show you when we're doing it on the front, so where it's not going to be in the stitch length to keep it open. Now, the reason why you want to keep your pattern piece is because on this pattern piece, there are lines. There's a line for the top and the bottom of this. And what I did is I drew a chalk line down, and then I folded this where the other dotted line is. And I drew a line. So that way you know you centered your piece correctly. I really appreciate when designers have pattern pieces that have dotted lines, or where you could fold over the pattern so that way you can have perfect pattern placement. It makes your life a whole lot easier. So when you go to the machine, you're going to stitch this around at 2 point, or you can do it at 3. I'm just giving you, for me, I find I have cleaner boxes when I have a smaller stitch. And then when you're done stitching, you're going to cut into it. Now, my other suggestion is to make sure you have extremely sharp scissors. Because the sharper the scissors, the more you don't have to like finagle with it. You're going to cut it like you do a pocket, and I'm cutting it now, and I'm going to go into the corner, but not snip into the stitch. If you snip into the stitch, then you would need to, it's not the end of the world. I would just go over 1/8 of an inch above the stitch line you already created, and you have just start that way. It won't, you're just reducing the material, and just make sure you do it on the other side too, so it could be even. But realistically, you don't have to do it on the other side. No one's going to be like, this is 1/8 inch of a higher than that. No one's going to notice. If they are noticing, I would be intrigued with them. So doing your little snips. I didn't do it on this side. All right. Then from here, what I do is I kind of finger press, because I can't use an iron on vinyl. If you're using cotton, you can use your iron. I finger press, or you seam roll. I'm not finger pressing, I'm using my nail, honestly. And what it does, it just prepares the fabric to go through. And before I do pull it all the way through, I'm going to grab some double-sided tape. I could have sworn I cut off a piece. And I'm going to place it above and below. And I'm just going to pull this through. I'm going to remove one double-sided tape, and I'm going to pull this nice and taut, and then finger press the double-sided tape. And I want to make sure that you're trying not to get as much of the cotton to show. It's the way this is going to be set up, you're not really going to see the facing. It's very similar to a zipper facing. It's just a hidden pocket placement zipping. So once we have that all set up, I'm going to connect these at 3/8 of an inch. Oh, I'm gonna actually put these aside before I connect them. And I'm going to get the hidden strap connector. All right. So with the hidden strap connector, she gives you your pattern piece that is there, and then we're going to be using two cuts of 7/8 of an inch of Decaville light. You're going to put the Decaville light in the middle and iron it on, and put the other the other Decaville light on top of it, and you're gonna iron it on. Then you're gonna take your pattern piece and fold it where they're all the wrong sides, all right sides are touching. I mean, well, they're butting up against each other. And then you're gonna go down and you're gonna sew 3/8 of an inch on both sides, and then 1/8 of an inch. And this is the strap connectors you'll have. Once you have these strap connectors, then what you're gonna do is cut them in half. Cut this in half, and you're now having 2 strap connectors for your connector. So what we're gonna do right now, then we're gonna go back and get our 2 pieces. Make sure everything is even. So I just like to put a clip on the top, and then just to make sure nothing shifts. Like one side's not higher than the other, go 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well. And what you want to do is butterfly these open, very similar to what we did with creating the exterior panels. And we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to hop over 2 stitches, and I'm back at a 3. You can go 3.5, 4, but because I'm not using a lot of interfacing, it's not incredibly thick, so it's your judgment. It all depends if you want to use smaller stitches or not. All right. And we're going to now add our gusset to our exterior panels. Okay, what is super interesting about this is you're like, wait, we haven't put the hidden strap connectors on. Because this bag is so pliable, if you're using cotton, you're only using like a woven fix, shape flex, sew fuse. You're using a very small, you're using a lightweight woven exterior, woven, I lost my train of thought, woven and interfacing, and so you don't, it doesn't need to, it's not stiff, it's really pliable. I like how this bag just feels very soft and nice and all squishy, and the gusset fits really, really nice. I'm just clipping around. Use as many clips as you need, or as few. This gusset fits really, really nice though, so you shall see in a minute. And I like how, because it's so soft, when we put the hidden strap connectors in, it just fits, it goes nicely. I like how all of this is all gets set up. It's pretty cool. I like the shoulder strap a lot too. I've never done a shoulder strap like that before, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty amazing. And just ease everything in. I feel like this bag, is a total retro throwback bag, and I don't know, there's just something really elegant and classy about it. And I can see this, it could, based on what materials you use, it could be a very playful bag, a very fancy bag. You know, there's endless possibilities. We're going to take this over to the machine, and we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well, beginning and end. with this bag, there's a lot of add-on features that I like. I love the patterns that are like build as you go kind of scenario, because you may or may not want to add something that is to the bag, and it just gives you endless possibilities. All right, so we're done with one side, and we're going to go over to the other. We're going to trim our tails. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to clip in the beginning and end. I don't know why I wanted to use the faux fur, but I was really liking how like the leopard was looking, so I was like, yeah, we're gonna totally do this in leopard. We're just clipping around. It doesn't, the leopard has no stretch, so I was like, this will work out perfectly. I'm just going to flip it where it's flat, and therefore I can make sure I get around these curves nicely. Make sure this is actually flipped, the centers. That helps tremendously. This will be really pretty in cork. I can see like a tail and maybe like a burnt orange together. Would be really pretty. I can see like tulip pink fabric having like different animals in different stripes, or if you want to make it like a zebra print, you can have like black vinyl and white vinyl. Like there's a lot of things you can do.
How about denim?
Oh, denim would be nice as well. In case you're new to my channel, that's my husband's voice.
Hello.
Denim would be nice, like 2 different shades of denim. All right. Doing the same thing, going 3/8 of an inch, making sure that raw edges touch raw edges, back stitch well at the beginning and end. I like the name Goddess of the Sea too. I was just thinking that that's a pretty cool name. Make sure there's no crinkles. If you do have a wrinkle or crinkle, make sure it's above your stitch line and not below it, so it won't show. Okay, we're going to trim our threads. Okay, so we sewed the gusset down together, and we're going to we attached both exterior pieces. Now we're going to install our hidden strap connectors. So I'm just going to turn this right side out real quick. And here is where you can monitor to see if there's any wrinkles or places that you missed. But like I said, because this bag is not super structured, it's very soft and pliable. Isn't this pretty though? This is so pretty. That's really pretty. I like this. I was second guessing it, but then I was like, it might work. Let's do it. So we're going to, at this, we're going to install our hidden strap connectors. We're going to need our rivets, and we are going to get this done. So with this, you're going to take your one of your hidden strap connectors, and you're going to have the part that was butting up. So where you actually see the seam. The wrong side, the right sides are going to touch right sides. Wrong sides are going to go inside. And we are going to put the hidden strap connector all the way towards the bottom, just like 1/8 of an inch past where you see my denim. Not a whole lot. All right. And then we're going to flip this on its back. I'm going to squish this down. That's why it's pliable. And you see that there is 1/8 of it, like it's 1/8 of an inch, a little bit past the denim. We're going to now top stitch from the back. I know this sounds weird, but it works out beautifully. You're going to be like, this is genius. I'm going to use this in all my bags. We're going to stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the top of this. Back stitch at the beginning and end. So in case you didn't see from the other angle, just a little, it's a little scant lower than the denim. And we're going to back stitch. And we're just doing 1/8 of an inch away. And trimming my threads. And we're going to do that on the other side as well. So again, we're going to take where you see the opening, we're going to have that side out, and we're going to slide it through this opening so that it's just roughly like 1/8 of an inch away from the blue denim bottom. So you see it's now touching the inside. We're going to go again 1/8 of an inch from here to here, right side. So we're just going right above this lip. We're going to trim our threads. I'm using 40 weight thread from Waywack. It's Saba. It's polyester, so I thought I trimmed my thread here, but apparently I did not. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our rings. Now this part, if you have the gate rings where they open up, kind of like a clasp, this will tremendously help you in the long run. You can just put it on and you'll be able to slide it back off. I didn't have it, so I'm using Emmeline hardware, and I'm using the 1.5 inch hoops, and this is in the color nickel, silver. And I'm using man, I like struggle with plastic like you have no idea. So we're going to use two of these right now. We're going to place the gate ring. Now you see why we didn't put it through. Just fun fact, when I did my first bag, I was like trying to do it on my own and didn't trust the process. And then I put the hidden strap connector on before I added the gusset, and yeah, don't do that. Don't do that, because then you have this 1.5 inch ring that is wider than your gusset, and it's not fun trying to sew through 1/8 of an inch, and it can get messed up. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we put our rings on, we're going to punch a hole right above the stitch line we just created. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. So I am going right above and punching a hole and doing that on the other side. This is reinforcement to make sure your straps don't move and won't rip out. Okay. Putting this back over here. Grabbing rivets. I'm using a small rivet size from Emmeline bag. I usually get all my rivets from Emmeline. They're just really great quality. And I'm going to, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but if you see this, my rivet is flush with how many layers. I could have, if you go for a medium or large, it all depends on the material you have. If the post is sticking out more than 1/8 of an inch, you can have your rivet actually set on a slant, and it could pop off or rip the bag or rip through. So having the correct rivet size helps tremendously. I mean, I have done it so many times where I was like, yeah, I'm just going to use this one, and it didn't set properly, and it's very, very frustrating. Ooh, don't do that. I should have done that.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you, though. Don't do that. Have it on a steady person. Don't have it posting away from you. And there's another thread. All right, so now we're going to take our ring and poke it through, pull it through, where this is going to be matching. And I'm just going to do that on the other side real quick too. You want the you want the ends to be matching. All right. And I'm just going to verify that it is. And then we're going to top stitch. And this is going to be your thickest seam you have throughout this whole back. And it's not that thick. We're going to top stitch right here above the lip. And you're going to pull, you can pull your threads to the back to give it a very neat ending. So make sure you have longer tails. No back stitch, I mean. We're gonna pull our threads for this. And have long tails when you cut off the threads. And we're going to do that on the other side too. And then we're going to pull our threads to the back so that way it can look all pretty and nice. And then we're going to use the rivet again, and I'm going to use it the correct way so it doesn't, you know, crash against my chest. Long, nice tails. All right, so we're going to pull this back, and I usually just grab a needle and I just pull I pull my bottom lining fabric up, and I can take the top lining. It's just like a little loop you'll see come up when you tug on the bottom of the thread, and then you just tie them off. I tie them usually 4 or 5 times, and because the threads are going to be inside the bag, I leave them a little bit longer. You can add a bead of glue, like fray check, if you wish. I like to add a little bit of glue just for that extra security of knowing that they're not going to go anywhere. But 4 knots is pretty secure. Or I guess apparently 5, right? We're going to pull the threads on the other side too. You just have to just tug a little, and then you'll see the exterior fabric thread, the exterior thread come out. Now if your top and bobbin thread is matching, it could be a little difficult to see it. But just tug on one of the threads and you'll see a little loop pop out. And the last one's over here. All right. Okay. Now, for this part, we're gonna now add a rivet right below it. And because you did the 2 3/8 of an inch, if you just, it's perfectly centered. You can get a ruler and measure 1 inch and then go find the 1/2 inch mark. But because what I really like about the 3/8 of an inch, you can just make a mark and it's right in the middle. It like kind of sandwiches in really nice. We're just going like 1/4 of an inch below the stitch line we just sewed, and then you grab your hole punch or your hand punch, drill, whatever you have that's available to you, and you're going to punch through all these layers. And for this one, I'm going to be using a medium because it's going through it's going through 2 parts of the connector as well as the exterior. Grabbing 2. And I put the mel in, and you see how it's just a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch flush, and then I'm going to push it together and it kind of does a little snap like a Lego. Same thing, putting the mel in, flipping it over, putting the female part on. Okay, rivet press. When you're doing this, usually stand up and do it and don't sit so it doesn't collide with your chest like it did earlier. I promise you I'm fine. It didn't hit it. I caught it ahead of time, but oh my god, I have had some incidents with the rivet press. All right, so we're done with our exterior for right now. We're going to grab our interior pieces and we're going to do the lining slip pocket. Now with the slip pocket, you can use there's an optional piece where you can use that has where you can use the vinyl or like the faux leather, the faux fur that I use as a top part, but with that it can create a little bit of bulkiness on one side, but it's not a lot because it's only the lining. I actually like the way a slip pocket looks when it matches the interior pocket, so I'm going to put this right sides together and I'm just going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. If you were using the pattern, the trim, you would follow the instructions where you're going to sew these wrong sides together like this, so that it doesn't shift. You use a 1/8 of an inch, then you put the trim down and fold it over so that it's even on both sides, because the trim is exactly 1 inch. So at this side will have a 1/2 inch, this side will have a 1/2 inch, and then you would stitch down at 1/8 of an inch. But because I did not cut out the trim, we're going to just sew the pocket together. Slip front together, and we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch, similar to the trim. And I'm just going to finger press that down. Okay, and I'm going to now top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. All right, so that's on there, and we're going to measure 6.5 inches in from the center. I mean, 6.5 inch to the center. Let's see. You can actually put your slip pockets however you want. There is a really cool, again, Krista did it again, where like you can fold on the dotted lines on the pattern piece. Instead of measuring, if you're like, oh, no, I'm really bad at measuring, Nova, totally get you. This is why it's cool when the pattern designers do this. I'm going to do it like this. Again, I'm using chalk. And then I'm going to do it, fold the other line down. And put it onto the other side. It does save time because you're not having to measure, and two, it's just super convenient. So you can put your pockets how you want. I'm going to grab one slip pocket, the one that I'm not going to be using for the zipper pocket. And I'm going to clip this on here, and I'm going to show you how I stitch my slip pockets. I do a little bit of reinforcement stitching because I'm rough on bags, and certain areas are going to get more pressure and more pulling and tugging. I'm spacing this on at 1/8 of an inch. Now when I get to the pocket, the first line you see, I'm going to go up. And then when I get to the top, I'm going to bar tack back and forth. Then I'm going to go back down near the stitches I just corrected. And continue to base until I get to the other line. Then I'm doing the same thing. Following the line, stopping with the needle down, going backwards and forward a couple stitches, go down the same line, or you can go like 1/8 of an inch over. It all depends on what you want. Okay, so with this being said, I'm going to trim my stitches. My threads. You're probably like, Nova, why won't you just like put rivets in here? I'm using cotton. So this pocket has woven fix interfacing on both sides. So it's like 4 layers of cotton plus the woven fix on the main panel and the exterior. So 6 layers. If you punch a hole through this, one, you're going to need to put glue so that it doesn't fray, or fray check. And then 2, you would need to put some kind of washer, whether it's a double a vinyl washer or a leather washer, or if you're cutting out scraps of vinyl cork or whatever, or you can use like Decoville Light or Decoville Heavy in order for it to do it. Now, if you just went and punched a hole in this and put a rivet on both sides, when people are putting stuff in the pocket, it's eventually going to pull the rivet through. So this is the reason why I like to bar tack. If you do garment sewing, you would see bar tacks are used in a lot of garments, and especially in areas that have that get used a lot. So like that, there's going to be friction. The pockets are not going to go anywhere. We bar tacked 3 times, but back and forth, and then we went down just to reinforce the stitch. So we're done with this part of the interior pocket. And the next thing you're going to grab is your other interior piece, your zipper, and your pattern piece. On your pattern piece, Clarissa has where you have on here, I'm not going to show the exact pattern piece. She has the measurement of where you're going to put the zipper facing in. If you don't want to use the pattern piece, it is written in the instructions that you're going to go 1.5 inches down and you're going to put the zipper facing. Now, the zipper facing is 1 inch on both sides and 3/4 of an inch above and below. I use a purple pen so you can see it. Once you have the measurements, you find your centers. You can use a white chalk pen or whatever is easier for you. I just usually crease it with my finger, to be honest with you, and find the centers. Then I pop a couple pins in and I stitch. Now I do the same thing like I did with the connecting. I use a smaller stitch length, and because I'm using cotton, I'm using a 2.0 millimeter stitch length all the way around. And then it's here, it's done. So I'm going to crease this with my thumb. If you have an iron by you, utilize that and hit it with some steam so it can be a little bit pliable. And then I'm going to cut I'm just showing you how I would cut it. I would just do 2 V's. And just cut it that way. Then you would just fold this and I snip it. Don't cut into your threads, just really, really close. And we're going to do the V again. All right. And again, we're going to just finger press. And we're going to flip it through. And what we're going to do, I'm going to put some double-sided tape on here so that way my double-sided tape is a hot mess. It's a collection of threads. Don't judge me. Put some double-sided tape on here so that way it could stay. If you don't want to use double-sided tape because you're like, no, it'll come up my needles. Totally understand. This is where your iron comes in, or drips wash away tape, or you can the children's purple glue. It's one of my favorite glues to use. You put it on the area and then you can iron it and it'll just stay there. It works as a really good temporary hold. And it turns clear when it's dry, so that helps tremendously. All right, now her zipper pocket method is super cool. I have never seen it done like this, and I'm excited to show you. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab our pattern piece V, which is the bottom of the pocket, and then did I accidentally turn off the camera by hitting? No, you didn't. Okay. And then we're going to do the upper part of pattern U. We are going to, on the back side of the zipper, okay? We are going to, first of all, I'm going to trim this so it is exactly the same size as the zipper. And then I'm just going to make sure I really did trim it the same size. It's still uneven. Hit it with a iron, not iron, but a lighter. On the back side of the zipper, we're going to put right sides together. I mean, wrong side of the zipper with the right sides touching of the top placement, and we're going to base this on at 1/8 of an inch. Trust the process. I know this feels, it's not normal like what we normally see, but they're, like I've always said, just trust the process, because you may learn something that you never knew before, and you will now implement in all your bag making. We're going to base this on at 1/8 of an inch. And what you can do is then press this kind of open and top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch. Just to give it that extra security. You don't have to do that, it's optional. Okay, and then we're going to trim the threads. We're going to do the same thing to the bottom. Wrong sides of the zipper to the right sides of, putting on the right sides of the zipper. I mean the wrong sides of the zipper up, right, and then you're going to put the right side of the pocket. You're going to do 1/8 of an inch. Move your zipper if you need to. All right, trim your threads. And do the same thing. You can finger press or bring it over to your iron for 1/8 of an inch. Again, the top stitching is completely optional. Just like you could put purse feet on this bag too. I forgot to mention when we were putting the exterior together. It's optional. There's also an optional where you can use Decoville heavy or 2 layers of Decoville light if you wish for the base. I like the bag to be really soft, so I did not use those 2 options, but you can. All right, so now here's the fun part. We're going to get some double-sided tape. This is the right side of the zipper. So everything, the right side of the zipper, we should see just the woven interface that we use for our cotton. I also use no like purse feet or whatnot. So when we birth this bag, I could pull it through my pocket and not have to make a hole in my lining. So that is just something to think about if that's something that appeals to you. Make sure your zipper is placed how you want it. Mine is not, so because my zipper pull is not going the right direction, so I'm just going to put it the right direction. I should have told you to make sure your zipper tape was at the right, so when we flipped it over, it would be closing to the left. But if you're using a zipper like I am, then you can just maneuver it. We're going to place this on top. What I like to do is find my centers first and then use this double-sided tape to help guide. Okay, so now we're going to stitch around using 1/8 of an inch. You could pull your tails to the back if you wish. I'm going to back stitch because to be honest with you, I like a lot of I love pulling my tails to the back, but when I use a zipper facing, I usually don't, and I usually back stitch back and forth a little bit over here where the zipper opens and closes. So 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Pull our threads, trim our tails. Then we're going to take this, I'm gonna get the million threads that are connected. This particular lining, whenever I use this fabric, it like is a magnet to threads. I'm going to clip this on the top. And we're going to make an opening. Okay, so what I normally do with this is my little tidbit, because like you can leave this open and close when you close it. I just like having the little lip so it's like a nice clean lining. I like to put double-sided tape. As you can tell, I like double-sided tape.
Yes, she does.
I'm going to put double-sided tape on both sides. And this is like 1/4. So when I fold it over, it is exactly a 1/2 inch on both sides. I'm going to fold it up. It just creates when we close this up at the very end, there's no like raw edges or threads that are gonna be, and you could tuck it in, like fold it in. I'll show you at the end when we're done with it. But this just is how I like to close up zippers. All right, so now I'll put a clip here and a clip here, and we're going to sew up one side, go across, and then sew down, and back stitching extremely well at the beginning and end. So let's do this. Now, this little V here is super important to tack down, because again, this is a high stress point where the zipper opens and closes. I go over that little triangle V thing like 2 or 3 times, and then back stitch extremely well at the beginning and end. All right, trim your threads, and let me open up the zipper pocket so you guys can see. There are no zipper tape enclosures. So I think this is genius. I never would have thought of this in a million years. I like the fact that you can just, it's a nice clean, you can stow all the way around and you're done. So I'm gonna leave the zipper open. Then we're going to get our lining gusset pieces. And we're going to put them together. And again, I just clip at the top to make sure that they're both aligned. We're going to go 3/8 of an inch. We're more than halfway there, guys. We're going to butterfly this open and stitch this 1/8 of an inch on both sides. Now, when we install this gusset, if you're making it a little bit more structure, or you have purse feet or a base on the bottom, you're going to leave one side open, like have anywhere from 6 to 8 inch. You can have it on the side, you can have it on the bottom, you can have it on the top. I mean, like either side or the bottom. You can't leave it on the top. The top is already open. And I'm going to find my centers, and I'm going to make a little snip, a little V, and do the same thing on the top real quick. But because I'm going to be pulling from the pocket and everything's really soft, I'm just going to leave it, not have an opening. Again, we're going to clip this in place, and we're going to start off at 3/8 of an inch and then kind of veer into 5/8. So I'm going to clip, and for this one, on my first one I had a snip into the gusset a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch, and you're going to see me do that here to give it a nice snug look. And I'm just going to clip no more than like 1/4 of an inch. I mean, even though we're veering into 5/8, you can kind of do 3/8 of an inch if you want, but I err on the side of caution. Flipping. Clipping. Do the same thing on this side. Just making sure it just eases natural, like once you clip it, it just eases into the area. All right. So again, we're going to start off at 3/8 of an inch, back stitch really well, beginning and end, and then we're going to veer kind of into 5/8 of an inch. So you have a nice top lining. In case you're wondering, you're like, wait, you could draw out your 5/8 of an inch around. Where the beginning of this yellow tape is 3/8 of an inch. In the middle is where the 5/8 of an inch is. You're like, wait, what is she doing? How she's not measuring it? Yeah, I am. I'm just really familiar with my machine, and then we're gonna go back to 3/8 of an inch at the end. Back stitching well. So if I was to have like a stiffer bottom, when I do this next one, when I put on where the slip pocket is, I probably would leave a 5 to 8 inch opening at the top, where there's no, the very top or on the very bottom. Again, I'm going to find my centers, I always try to find my top and bottom centers because it just makes your life easier in the end. We're going to clip the top, the bottom, then the top. And just mold your fabric. And then we're gonna put some snips in the gusset to make it lay nice and flat. Try not to go more than 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 at the max, because the corners are going to be caught in the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, but do this on the other side. My wash machine.
That's the wash machine making that noise.
Yeah, it's the wash. No, so our wash machine, when it's done with the cycle, it makes like this like beep boop boop boop. Like it sounds like
R2D2.
R2D2, yeah. And we were trying to figure out when I was filming the other one, like, is my phone going off? No, that's our wash machine. It's like, please get the wet clothes, your clothes out of there. Thank you. All right. So whenever I do also my top of the gusset, I actually clip at the very top so it doesn't shift, because I always remove the first couple of clips. So we're going to start off, again, 3/8 of an inch, and then we're going to gradually veer into 5/8 of an inch. So it could be a nice, tight lining. Again, if you have a wrinkle, please just have it underneath, above the needle and not underneath it. And then we're gonna gradually, you could back stitch over your, if you want the pockets, the slip pocket too, just for that extra reinforcement. Then we're gonna gradually veer to that 3/8 of an inch and back stitch really well. Remove clips, trim threads. And we have that. Now, now we're going to, I'm going to actually start doing, we're going to mess with the exterior a little bit more right now. We're going to grab our 15-inch strap and our two 13-inch straps. And make sure you stay hydrated, drink some water. And not dribble it all over yourself. I'm a hot mess today. All right. Our two 13-inch straps, what we're going to do, this, I'll show you where the gauge clips come in handy. We're going to peel off, well, I should have kept that on, to be honest with you. We're going to take our 13-inch strap and put it inside the first hoop, and then put a second hoop. I made it difficult. Don't take off the DST until it's time. Put a second hoop in there, and we're going to pretend I didn't put the DSD there. Oh, it's sticking to everything. We're gonna put the raw edges together and stitch a 3/8 of an inch. Oh, DSD, I know. Don't do, again, that's what happens when you put the DSD beforehand. All right, we're going to, I like to make a weird smiley face with these things, and I put this down. And we're going to fold on the 1 inch line. You find your centers on this thing, they're 2 inches wide, so then you have a 1 inch line in the center. Bear with me because I had to use the DSD right away. I knew better than that too. I did that last time too. I'm like always in a rush to use a double-sided tape when I need to slow down. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit more double-sided tape for the center. Okay, so we have our 2 rings. We're going to put, so it's, see the connector? Sorry, see the connector? We put one of the 13-inch straps right here. I'm going to put the seam in the middle, and we're going to go around we're going to do 3/8 of an inch on both sides, and then we're going to do a 1/8 of an inch box. So what I did last time is I took my ruler, and to make sure I didn't hit the straps, I stopped a 1/2 inch in. Like I had a line on both sides, so that way I knew where to stop, because sometimes I get a little gun happy, like thread happy, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then even though with a narrow foot, it wouldn't happen. So we're gonna go 3/8 of an inch first, stopping, and I stopped and start in areas and just made sure it was consistent. So here we go. The first one's 3/8 of an inch. You want to maybe increase your stitch length too, because you're sewing through all vinyl or just a lot of layers. Stopping at that 1/2 inch mark, and I'm just going to back stitch 1 stitch. I'm going to literally drag my threads to the other side so I can get the 3/8 of an inch. It's a process. Then I'm going to pull my threads, trim the threads as close as possible. I'll use a lighter towards the end, or I'll be here all day with burning threads. And then I'm going to start the 1/8 of an inch box all the way around. When you pivot, make sure your needle's down. So this is where the gauge, again, if you clipped it off, it wouldn't be on your bag and you wouldn't have to move your bag around the bag. So I highly recommend the gauge clips. The only negative thing about the gauge clips is that when you're, they'll show the clip part if you look closely, and it's not a permanent fixture. But again, the plus with the gauge clips is that you can remove the strap and make it have an additional crossbody strap. That could be a selling feature or a Christmas gift or a holiday gift feature that you can tell the person that you made, like, hey, look what I made you. It also has like this really cool thing where you can have it as this really fancy shoulder strap. So we're gonna now do this on the other side. But first, I'm going to keep the double-sided tape on. Grab the second hoop. You'll see when you have the double-sided tape on, it helps tremendously. Trim the threads, and then kind of make a weird smiley face thing. And then put double-sided tape here without a million pieces of thread on it. I really need like a tape dispenser for double-sided tape, because man. Right. Fold onto the 1-inch line. Just folding it on the one to making it 1 inch wide. All right. Moving all this thread and extra tape. All right, and then right here, this is really important to make sure your straps don't get all twisty. Make sure that they're going in the same direction. That's why I put the seam in the center, so I know it faces the bottom. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to just quickly use some chalk and measure down like a 1/2 inch, so that way I don't go past that as bad as I want to. I won't. 3/8 of an inch. pulling my threads, going down to the other side. I got this vinyl from fabric.com. Fabric.com is really interesting. They have some really nice vinyl selections. But if there's a vinyl that you really like, make sure you buy a lot of it. Because they're kind of notorious for discontinuing vinyl. And it could be frustrating if you're like making something and you're like, hey, I'm going to use this vinyl again. Let me reorder from fabric.com, and then it's like, oh, you don't make that one anymore. There was like this fabric vinyl that I had that was called Bark. It was like the prettiest brown you've ever seen. I bought 2 yards, and then I had an order for somebody else that wanted this specific color that I made in a bag. Oh boy. Called them like, yeah, we don't. Oh, we discontinued it. And I was like, no, I need it. Okay, so we're doing the 1/8 of an inch box all the way around. I'm trimming threads as close as possible. All right, so now we're going to attach this 15-inch strap. I cannot stress this enough. Make sure your seams, the reason why, again, I had them in the center, facing on the bottom, is you can make your strap crooked, and then you're going to have to cut and try to redo the strap again, and that's not fun. So we're going to now take this, and we're going to thread our fabric through it. And again, we're going to do that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and connect it. Trim the threads, and then, like I said, I kind of make a weird smiley face. See, it's like lips. And then we're going to put a piece of double-sided tape in the center of the weird lip thingy, so that way that could fold on to itself. We're just folding to that 1-inch line. All right, and again, I'm going to now turn this and right, and then have this in the middle, the seam in the middle. And I'm just going to put the handle, like before I start stitching, I want to make sure that nothing is twisted. I don't have to fix anything. I'm going to put this in the center again. You can pop a clip in it because it's a little bit longer than the other one. I'm going to go 1/2 inch. I'm not going to go past with a 3/8 of an inch. Nothing's twisted. That's important to me. Move all these clips, and we're going to go 3/8 of an inch. Turn this around. And yes, you're finagling your whole bag, but it's like, again, it's really soft, so it's cool. And of course my phone wants to say that now. My phone doesn't turn on until I'm doing videos. Like Bixby, like I'll be like, turn on the flashlight. Nothing, nada, nothing. But as soon as I do a video, Bixby wants to talk. All right, so again, we're snipping threads close as possible. And we're going to do that 1.5 inch box. Not 1.5, I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch all the way around box. Moving all my clips that we're going to be needing when we put the lining together. All right, we're almost done. We're going to have to just construct the rest of the lining, and then we're going to be putting this bad boy together. All right. We're going to put the exterior aside for just a moment. But you can see how cute this is. Like the strap detail alone is just really cute. All right, so after we do that, we're going to sew this bag together. We're going to get our final 2 pieces, and it is the top of the lining. With the top of the lining, there are placements for your magnets. I drew my little lines, and I also put Decovil because I didn't know how well the faux fur would hold up. I'm going to get my washers, my 2 magnets that are connected to every needle, and my magnet bowl. And one side you want to have male, the other side you want female, like this side has the male. You're going to cut your little holes. And I'm just going to do a snip. You can use an X-Acto knife or a box cutter, whatever works for you. Push those through. And push down the prongs. And yes, I can pull down the prongs with my hands. I have freakishly strong hands if you're new to this channel. Everyone else that are subscribers, they already know I'm weird like that. We're going to...
I never play Thumb Wars with it.
And I got that from my mom. My mom is so tiny. She's like 5 foot nothing, and she has the strongest hands I've ever seen. And apparently, I inherited from her, and I appreciate it. I'm putting this electrical tape that I got from Serial Bag Maker. I love it. It doesn't go anywhere, and it just, I don't know. I just really love it. So we have our male and our female side. We're going to then put these together. And we're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. Mine are a little off, but it will catch in the seam. And then we're going to sew down the seams at 1/8 of an inch. We're gonna butterfly it. This faux fur, as pretty as it is, oh my Lanta, it is really, really slippery. Kind of like a silk charmeuse or sateen. I put a sateen in a lining in one bag before, and I was like, never again, never again. I mean, I'm going to try it again because it's inevitable. That's how I roll. But 3/8 of an inch on the other side. Ooh, these magnets are strong. I'm glad I put that Decaville light. Okay. We're going to butterfly it. 1/8 of an inch on both sides. Okay, we're gonna grab our lining and I'm going to find my center and my lining real quick. And also I'm going to trim down the lining, not where the 3/8 of an inch is, but where we did the 5/8 of an inch. Just trim it down to like a 1/4 of an inch, so it's not a lot of bulk when it gets inside the bag. Now, if you're turning from your lining side, do not trim down the area that you're turning from, or it could just make it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be for you. You could trim all the way around and just not trim the opening. And let me do this on the other side real quick. You can use pinking shears for this, scissors, whatever you have available. And I'm not trimming where the 3/8 of the inch we veered into the three veered in and veered out of the 3/8 of an inch, because we want to use that. So once we found our centers, we are going to place this where the scoop is the lining, the top of the lining. We're going to put the bottom of the lining. Oh, sorry, I'm going to unsnap this. We're going to put the bottom of the lining matching the center we just made. We're just going to flip, and I'm just butterflying, opening the opening, like the seam allowance that we have for the 3/8 of an inch to the lining. Popping some clips in it. Okay. And we're going to sew around this at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitching the beginning and end. You could do this from the inside or the outside. I just prefer the inside. It works easier for me. But but do what's best for you. If the area that you pinned open for the butterfly pops out, just have your needle down and pop it open again. It just makes it easier with the bolt and when we do the next step. We're almost done with this part. All right. Trimming the threads. What we're going to do next is we're going to butterfly open this seam. We're going to do it a bottom and the top. So I start in the corner in one of this in the open seam, so that way I can have the seam allowance open. I start in like where a seam is, so that way when I backstitch, you can't see the backstitching. Keep that seam butterflied. Just guide it with your fingers. Pull any excess interfacing strings that apparently want to stay on here. You're just top stitching at 1/8 of an inch, and this not only helps the seams lay flat when you put the bag together, but it just looks really pretty too. You can use 1/8 of an inch again, or if you're using all cotton, hit it with the iron and it'll just stay for you. If you want to make things difficult like me, then I call it the pancake method. You spread the butterflies open while you're sewing. Okay. So we're done with the first one. What I'm going to do is hop over 1-2 stitches, and I'm going to start on the bottom of the lining. And it should be a little bit easier to do this one because you already have the other top seam stitch. I hop over 2 stitches inside the side seam, and that way I can just continue the thread. Also, if your threads really match, then nobody will see it. Nobody will know. Alright, we're going to trim our threads. So we have the lining done. We're going to now take our exterior piece. If you have a name tag or logo that's on here, if that's your right side, you're going to make sure that your pocket, your zipper pocket, is on the other side. So that way, oh, well, you know what? There's no rule or rhyme to that. A lot of people just love having the zipper towards closer to your body so you can feel it. So we're going to make sure our zipper pocket is open. We're going to shove the bag turn your exterior wrong side out. I'm sorry, I'm doing the wrong way. Turn the exterior wrong side out. And then we're going to turn the lining right sides out. And this helps because the magnets. then we're gonna shove our bag back in there. And also the lining is a little bit shorter than the exterior, and it just pans out better. We're going to match centers and seams to seams. Butterfly the exterior pieces. Okay. And we're going to flip it. All right. And then we're going to sew this together using a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Back stitch well at the beginning and end. This has a lot of unique curves, so take your time. If you have to stop, make sure that you have your needle down. Okay, and what I do is the area that has some bulk, like at the very top, I usually use the pinking shears so I can get a nice sharper, like, poke out, less bulk. And then what we're going to do is just making sure everything's turned like together. We're going to pull out our lining, and because again, if you had an opening somewhere, you would pull out from that opening. But I'm using my zipper pocket. I'm going to grab a corner. You'll see why, like how easy it is, because it's so soft. Carefully turn it out. It's magic. And I'm putting my hand inside the pocket now, just pushing out the bag, the seams. And then I'm just poking out all the little corners. And I'm going to tuck the bag, removing this ginormous thread back into itself. going just to roll the seams and kind of clip it as I'm rolling. I like this. This is a cool combo. I usually second guess, triple guess myself when I'm picking out fabrics. It's my weird process. All right, so now we're just gonna top stitch and then we'll close up the pocket. I don't close up the pocket until I'm done top stitching. This is how I top stitch. Again, it's a soft bag, so you can flip it a couple times. I'm going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch, and I just want to make sure everything's poked out good. So I'm just using a blunt object and trying to get it all the corners poked out. I'm going to start on one side. You can pull your threads to the back, or you can just back stitch like I am. Because I have a faux fur. It has like a pile that I don't think anyone's going to really see my stitching. Take your time. There's no rush. Trimming threads along the way, because no matter how many times I say trim your threads, I have it threads everywhere. Okay, and we're almost done. And you stop. Make sure you stop in the needle down position. Okay, trimming my threads. Okay, turning this back right sides out. And I'm going to grab my pocket. Oops, not my lining, just the pocket, Nova. Come on. So this is why I use that double-sided tape. See how it's already like nice and crisp edge? I don't have to like, if you didn't do it, you could just turn it in right now and then press it. But it was just like one fast step that I don't have to do. And then what I do is I kind of corner snip. So that way, one, it reduces bulk, and two, you won't have it and it won't poke through. And then I'm going to stitch this at 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, whatever's easier for you. Okay. Putting the pocket in there, making sure the lining is all in there, poking down the corners of my pocket, zipping up the pocket, and closing, snapping the magnetic snaps. And if you have areas that are not rolling out right, you can just roll them with your fingers, use a seam roller. You could put binder clips or even wonder clips on it, but the way I would do it is put a piece of paper in it on above it, between it, so it doesn't leave teeth mark. And that is it. We got the goddess of the sea, and she's super cute. She comes together beautifully. I think it's a great sew. I feel like you can use a lot of different materials for it. You can use, like I did, faux fur. Oh yeah, all furry one. Like, because Uggs always comes out with a really furry purse in fall and winter. It could be like a faux Ugg faux fur purse. It can be all vinyl. It could be craft tex. It could be cork. It could be faux leather. It could be cotton. It could be duck cloth. There's so many possibilities for this bag. I feel like it's a great bag to have as an everyday bag, a great gift, a great bag to make for conventions or craft shows or bazaars. So this bag has a lot of possibilities. I'm going to have the website for Needle and Anchors down below. I'm going to have my affiliate link if you would like to purchase this pattern. Again, it does a little kickback to me, and I will list what I used and where I got most of the stuff if I can remember it, because most of the times when I'm using faux leathers, it could be stuff that I bought 2 years ago and I have the faintest idea, because I buy things on a whim for no purpose because I know it's going to be used sometime. It's a weird thing. I shop weird. And if you have any questions in regards to this pattern, please leave a comment down below. If you liked what you've seen today and you appreciate it, if you can like, subscribe, hit that notification button, leave a comment. It does this channel wonders. And until the next time I see you, I hope you have a great day and happy sewing. Bye.